Syria's white helmets, humanitarian saviors, or something else? We've already seen some contradictory evidence that shows the so-called rescue workers appear to have a darker side. But after seeing their heroics in a documentary they made about themselves, what do the people who were rescued by the white helmets actually say about them?
We only ever see them helping the armed groups when there's an attack. Armed groups are given priority. They mostly help the militants. The hospitals were used to treat the militants. The terrorists would shoot at civilians to prevent them from receiving help from the white helmets. They killed 6 families trying to escape East Aleppo for medical assistance. They don't help people. They only work when the cameras are on them. When the cameras are gone, they leave. They abandon people under the rubble. They told us to pull the bodies out ourselves. When they came to help the injured, they stole from them. If people were wearing jewelry, they cut it off. All of them are thieves.
That's quite a different story. Numerous reports from eyewitnesses say they've seen members of the white helmets waving guns, standing on top of the bodies of fallen Syrian soldiers. One white helmets member even admits they aren't there to help just anyone.
Finally, we collect the bodies of the Assad forces and throw them in the trash.
Accounts are stacking up that the white helmets are actually allied with Al-Qaeda and al-Nusra Front, and flags for each of the terror groups were found in the white helmets headquarters in eastern Aleppo. They claim to be part of Syria's civil defense network, but the real defense network says they've never worked with the white helmets. Firefighters in Aleppo often respond to attacks in the same areas, but they also say they've never worked together. The firefighters add that while the terror groups frequently shoot at them, the white helmets are never targeted.
Why did the rebels shoot at me and my son and yet leave the white helmets alone?
That's a great question, but maybe this glowing review from Al-Qaeda will give us some clues.
A message of thanks and gratitude to the hidden soldiers of our revolution. On top of our list are the parents of the martyrs and the men of the white helmets.
Or even this letter from al-Nusra Front, calling the group the soldiers of the Syrian revolution. It's signed by every terrorist group linked to Al-Qaeda. But the group still works hard to maintain its polished image, even when there are cracks in their stories. After publishing this video, the White Helmets medics trying to rescue an infant, a group of Swedish doctors came out and said it looked as though the White Helmets had actually killed the child. The Swedish NGO Doctors for Human Rights is accusing the White Helmets of staging a hoax, claiming the procedures might even have been carried out on a dead child simply to film the video. They point out the syringe was used incorrectly, and the medic never injected anything into the child.
Analysis shows the care of these apparently qualified doctors does not conform to any medical standards and is actually dangerous for human life. Most cruel of all is that a child is brought in and is pretty much murdered under the camera lights. The child could not move, but he was alive. He then receives an injection near his heart, which experts say would most likely kill him.
Since going public with their findings, those doctors are receiving death threats from anonymous sources online. Another example is the so-called mannequin challenge video. This footage shows rescuers frozen, motionless over an apparently injured man. It was posted by the White Helmets, but after public outrage, it was immediately pulled down. While the group claims it was aimed at raising awareness, it seems eerily similar to their other videos. And when they begin moving, a soundtrack starts playing in the background that was totally silent just seconds before. It may have been a mannequin challenge, but it massively backfired, with skeptics pointing out that many of the group's so-called rescues have been proven fake as well. In a more sinister turn, the group has also been filmed facilitating an execution. Members of al-Nusra Front execute a Syrian rebel, and then the White Helmets immediately rush on camera to apparently save him. It looks great for the camera, but I'm not sure how much help they'll be at this point. Now, we've heard from the White Helmets themselves, and we've heard from the victims. But what about other governments? What do they have to say? Well, the president of Syria, Bashar al-Assad, obviously isn't a fan.
We have the proof that those videos were fake, like the White Helmets, for example. They are Al-Qaeda, they are Nusra Front, who shaved their beard, wore white hats, and appeared as humanitarian heroes, which is not the case. The same people were killing Syrian soldiers, and you have the proof on the internet.
Which makes sense, as the White Helmets seem to be working for terrorist groups. Officials in Russia are skeptical about the group as well.
We have no doubts that the White Helmets group, which operates in Syria, and of course the rewarding of their work with a Nobel Prize of sorts, an Oscar, this is all part of a large-scale PR campaign. We've also debunked the content of their videos.
And what about the group's leader? Raed Salah, the head of the White Helmets, was set to accept an award from Interaction, an alliance of aid agencies in Washington of April of 2016. But when his plane arrived in Washington, he was told he couldn't enter the U.S. and that his visa was canceled. The State Department wouldn't give specifics, but officials said that he was denied after being screened, raising questions about his ties to terrorist organizations.
Any individual in any group suspected of ties or relations with extremist groups or that we had believed to be a security threat to the United States, we would act accordingly.
So where does that leave us? For now, the White Helmets are still operating in Syria. They're working without oversight and without jurisdiction in a conflict zone at the center of a war that's been raging for over 6 years, that now involves not only Syria, but Iran, Saudi Arabia, Russia, Turkey, Germany, France, the United Kingdom, NATO, and the United States. It's not clear what their actual role is or who they're really helping, despite their branding in the mainstream media as the saviors of Syria. But something's not adding up, and as the brutal war continues to take its toll, it's the people of Syria who are paying the price. Pearson Sharp, One America News.
And still ahead on this hour of One America News, the international